Ezreal. There are some theoretical Gwen counter picks out there. We've seen the GP in LCS. Some teams are talking about the Kennen. The Jace apparently can play into it. Jax is a champion that goes against it well, which we do know Bin is a Jax main. So maybe IG just wanting to get Wink on something both strong and safe at the same time.
And maybe for Suning, we go back to something we know with them, that something like the Nocturne was played during the regular season, if only briefly. Remember, this is still a triple flex here in the LPL. SofM has loved this in the past as well, Lyric.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see where Suning go next, because we do also still have a lot of prio jungles open. Rumble has not been touched, Udyr has not been touched, and we have seen that both these champions are still very first pick worthy coming into this split.
Well, we get the Thresh instead, something that was really priority banned towards the end of last split especially. You talk about those other jungle picks here. Let's see, because IG instead, no. We get the Monka in the top lane most likely. And, you know, the Shy's not here. This has to be an ode. I'm just going to leave it there.
It is a shout out.
Still surprised though, Lyric, that we still haven't seen that Gwen, that Viego that was mentioned earlier, because IG have the opportunity to pick it up here.
I mean, it's like you said, right? Everything we can learn from looking at LCS, from looking at these players' solo queue, is pretty much thrown out the window. With Suning picking up the Thresh, I would expect some kind of immobile hyper carry maybe coming later on. We know it opens up things like the Jinx. You even can pick up the likes of maybe even a Kog'Maw and a Felios. There's a lot of options open to buy Suning going towards this Thresh pick. And Suning right now just kind of hovering both champions that, again, very strong. I do think Viego is more situational. We have seen a lot of his power comes against melee matchups in the mid lane, because his attack range is actually absolutely absurd, 225. The average range for a melee champion is 125 to 150. Viego has more than 100, has 100 more than that. So, yeah, bit strong.
Big sword. That's why he's got a massive sword. He can reach anything he wants. So. It's not going to get picked up in this rotation, and we'll see if it actually gets banned away. Instead, Suning cement their bottom lane with that Huanfeng classic that he loved last split. It's that Jinx, it's the Thresh, a strong 2v2 that can really start the side off of Suning in what has been a pretty strong, I guess, duo throughout the last split.
And right, the good thing about it is we get Huanfeng on something that can take over the game, and now we see that Suning are banning out junglers. We already hit on both the Rumble and Udyr. We have seen are still both very high priority. Other things have come into the meta where, you know, a lot of Xin Zhao has been being played. You can always pick up things like the Volibear. And as more bans come out, it also opens up more options, right? We saw Dardoch play the Darius over in LCS. Shun's most played in solo queue right now is actually the Kindred, so I feel like you have a lot more options available to you, but IG's comp to me still doesn't really have much of a flavor, right? Because we have two engaged champions, and then we have an Ezreal. You would assume they want to keep indexing into that all-in role and let Wink play, you know, more of just the backliner. He has self-peel. He can kind of just play by himself. And right now, Suning are rocking more of a one-threat composition. You know, Nocturne obviously can provide a lot, but we're really going to look to see what Suning do with that pick. Will it go into the mid lane? Will it go jungle? Or are we going to see it up in the top?
But at the very least, we'll expect Suning to create more of that front line, right? If we're talking about the one threat, if we're talking about Huanfeng's Jinx, the Gnar sits quite nicely. So we now know that Nocturne going towards jungle, going towards mid, what's the word I'm looking for? It shrinks down the options a little bit here, but IG is still playing that guessing game, as now they have to show all their cards on the table. You also talked about this in Shun's solo queue, and this will be a good start.
Yeah, it's his most played champion by far right now. He's spamming it pretty much every game. So IG so far rounding out with a double AD carry composition, not having any AP so far. The LeBlanc, a champion that, once again, Rookie has been spamming himself. I don't know how I feel about it into the Suning composition so far. Maybe the Zoe would line up nicely with something like the Ezreal, but hey, we remember Rookie's best days in 2020. It was on this champion.
It really was. I love his LeBlanc. Some of the best LeBlanc plays have come from this man. Some of the best Zoe as well in the past have too. Lyric, I hear you cringing. I need your thoughts before we see this final Suning pick.
Again, I feel like you have a lot of options as Angel. He's been playing a ton of Viego, and again, it's mostly played into melee matchups. It doesn't fare too great in the Zoe, but you have so much sustain coming out from your Q that I still want to see this picked up, but he is going to go back towards his standard, the Twisted Fate. A lot of people think this is a fine matchup because you obviously do fine in the laning phase, and one thing that's nice when you pick Twisted Fate against, you know, quote-unquote poke, is that it's very easy to retake vision or enter without having to face check brushes, because you do have that destiny to get involved in the fight, maybe try and find and engage on the backline. So Angel going back to a tried and true pick that, you know, he was really known for the last 2 years of his career.
And I do love the fact that we have double globals because of that Twisted Fate pick. You have the Nocturne, the Twisted Fate. We mentioned how important it is aiming on that bottom side. I'm not sure what just happened with pick ban. We're still waiting to swap things around because players are not really changing. But further to my point, Lyric, the one threat composition is supported by elements that can help Huanfeng carry.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like now you do have more damage sources. Still, it's going to primarily be on Huanfeng's back because we know Twisted Fate, obviously Everfrost, Rapid Fire Cannon, you are a lot more about the utility. And for the side of IG, I like that they do have, you know, multiple threats. They do have a front line. They can engage, they can kite back. Their team has a lot of different flavors with how they are able to play out the game, to where Suning, it does just feel like much more of a traditional pick comp where, you know, later on in the game, it's going to be all about peeling for Huanfeng.
Giving him the space he needs. Neny's first game on that Wukong in the top lane. We've obviously had a little bit of an issue with the pick ban, so I'm not sure what's happening next. Some league officials standing behind players, just kind of giving them direction. So I'll update you as soon as I have an update in my ear. But Lyric, I kind of want to highlight one thing that, you know, again, to leave this and put it in the bed for the next game. No Gwen, no Viego, people getting hyped up to see that this time around. But we just had a skim over the champions with LPL sticking to, I guess, more of a traditional draft with maybe some current big power picks.
Like, I feel like we've seen a lot of pocket picks or like preferred champions coming out, right? Obviously, the highlighted one is Shun just going straight towards that Kindred. Neny did play a bunch of Wukong when he was over in the LDL. And it's interesting to me because, again, I've been looking at all these players' solo queues. They are spamming a lot of these, again, quote-unquote OP picks, the Gwen, the Viego, but maybe not feeling comfortable to pull out, maybe being afraid of the potential counter picks that are available. And I feel like this is really going to be a test for me for the side of IG especially, because, again, they have the damage profile to pull through. They do have decent lanes in the early game. Kindred, not really a jungler that's going to tie them together all too well, but I feel like all three lanes should be self-sufficient, so he's going to be fine against the Twisted Fate. We know there's Ezreal down in the bot lane, and Wukong really not going to be under too much threat against the Gnar. And then I think, especially if we do get into mid-game 5v5s, that's where IG's comp will be really strong. So for the side of Suning, right, it's all about pulling them apart, pulling them across the map, trying to get Rookie into his side lane to where then Angel can just start roaming because he does have that Destiny. We know the Nocturne's going to come in really clutch, but again, who do you even really focus with these globals? Because IG just, again, has so many like different avenues of taking fights.
And disengage tools there alongside with it, Lyric. It has been resolved. We are finally into Summoner's Rift here for IG versus Suning. 1 minute 50 in. Now, obviously, we're coming in a little bit late. It is the first game, folks, so please bear with us. You already talked about the composition, so I guess all that's left to kind of ask you is talking more about the 2v2, talking about Ezreal that's now back into the meta. As we talked about Divine Sunderer before, and Wink is the first one to pilot this champion.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Is Ezreal in lane is still the same champion. Like, you're gonna sit back, you're gonna farm. If you're in a lane that, you know, the enemy has lethal threat on you, you're just gonna stand back and farm with your Qs. But the big difference is that Divine Sunderer power spike. You know, Divine Sunderer really strong. Especially, I still feel like Mirror Mana is one of the strongest items in the game as well. So not only do you have a massive 1-item power spike, but your 2-item power spike on top of that is even bigger. You have build diversity, as we've seen a lot of people go towards things like the Frozen Heart now, because again, that mana scaling you do get with the Mirror Mana. So it's just a very safe champion that brings a lot of carry potential one item, and I think has a lot of different options with its build path.
And when you're talking about the 5v5, I look at the Ezreal against Suning comp, right, with the Divine Sunderer, but also items like Sorelda's Grudge that can run really well into the Gnar, into the Thresh if he builds a little bit tanky in his second, third item, even the Bruiser Nocturne. So I feel like there are a lot of options here, and you and I had a bit of a talk about that before show as well. Excited to watch Ezreal in pro play, said no one ever, but we do have part of Team Rocket returning to the Rift again. as Rookie getting ganked here in the mid lane, but SofM just popping in to say hello, push the wave, and potentially give Angel a nice back moment.
Yeah, also nice to see, you know, again, Shun was around because he was doing the crab. He is hovering over. But like you said, it was all about that reset opportunity for Angel. Bin, though, not in a very good position. Shun might be able to find this.
neny, for his first game in the LPL, spots him out in the brush, slowed down with the boomerang throw, and I believe at the end of the day, Shun was either spotted or it was a bit early there from neny. So nothing happened to the top side. Well, a good hook in the bottom lane, but it's just Suning putting on some aggression while Wink and Lucas continue to control the lane for now.
Yeah, bot lane, again, going fine. I think going back to that top lane, you know, potential gank is like, you know, Bin still had hop up. He wasn't really under threat. There was a huge wave right in front of neny, so it would have been really unrealistic that they would have gotten anything more than just forcing Bin to hop away. So they decide not to even waste time. Now we're going to see both junglers just go back to full clearing towards their opposite sides of the map. And the first thing we're going to look out for, right, is the play coming out from Suning. We're level 5 on Angel right now. That Destiny's going to be up soon. You can potentially look for a play on bot lane, but Ezreal has cleanse. Again, he's very safe with his E. I feel like maybe the more assured option would be looking towards neny when he is overextended. But with SofM clearing towards bot, we know that's probably not the case.
And I like that he was spotted on a ward, really key ward from Shun, but one returned by Angel, who made that short roam towards the bottom side as well. So both junglers tracking going to be there for both of the teams, which means more information, which means that these mid laners can continue to play how they want, especially Rookie right now, who's 10 CS up in the matchup, who's getting these paddle star combinations, and Rookie back to his old laning phase is a good start for the split.
I mean, even last split, right? Rookie in lane was still an absolute monster. You look at his CS numbers, you look at like how he would control the waves, push and find resets, even impact the map. It was all still good. The only big difference about Rookie last split was, again, he was getting caught out in mid game, or he was starting to ganks that he used to be able to outplay. Small things that if any other player did, like even players like Knight, Xiao, Duanbi, you kind of overlook because it happens sometimes. Again, Rookie just had this like aura around him that you didn't think it could.
Just the high standards we hold him to. Is the dragon almost stolen by a paddle star? No smite available with the unsealed spellbook Zoe, so SofM going to pick up the first dragon of the LPL summer, and I think more importantly, we saw Shun there just kind of hover around. He started it up and backed out of the pit, instead opting to go for farming and get this topside scuttle and give the new player of IG a little bit more room to breathe in this Wukong Gnar matchup. And Lyric, I want to talk a little bit more about this Wukong versus Gnar. We've got a Sheen up in this top side. Maybe not important as cleanse is used. But further to my point, Sheen in the top side versus the Gnar with plated steel caps. Haven't seen this matchup too many times, but now both 6. I wanted your insight on it.
I mean, you know, pre-6, it is going to be a little bit favorable towards the Gnar, but I'm going to have to stop because Angel's a little bit overextended.
We'll come back to that. Angel in the middle, but here comes the enemy Predator missile. SofM flies on in, but the Lambs respite with the perfect timing. Rookie now helping out his jungler, who heals back up, and SofM has to walk away, empty-handed with first blood over to IG.
Yeah, great to see from IG. They had the burst to pull off the play. Shun almost looked like he was going to go down. I thought potentially Suning would be able to turn it, but they're not. IG find the play again. It's nice to see because it felt like mid-jungle synergy was one of the things we didn't really see much from IG last split or ever. Lucas,
there, ignite, a lot of damage here. Huanfeng's run out of mana though, and the force flash comes out from the IG support.
Yeah, really nice hook coming in from On. That was one of our criticisms of him, right, is that sometimes he was a bit too trigger shy on finding a lot of these plays. neny gonna be fine. Bin just gonna end up using the ultimate, but you know, while we see this of like going back to this matchup, right? Again, early on, it is a bit Gnar favored. He does have the range coming out. Level 1, potentially neny could look for trades, but if you don't find that, Gnar's gonna push in. But especially once you're at that level 6 mark, you always can find the all-ins to look for those kills coming in on Bin when he is in mini form. And even your Stone Skin passive just really comes in clutch against the Gnar. Wukong is also someone who's going to abuse the buff Divine Sunder, so once he gets to that, you know, I feel like it's going to be heavily neny favored for a bit.
Oof. Good trouble bubble in the mid lane, though. Thank you for explaining that, Lyric. I think it's a matchup that we will start seeing a little bit more with all the Wukong being played in pro play, especially with LPL Gnars always being a favorite. Before you also mentioning Shun and Rookie linking up there in that mid gank. Really started off Shun in a good path. He's got the Noon Quiver, he's got the Cloak of Agility. He is on the board first rather than SofM, but more importantly, Rookie's been given agency in this lane when he already had a good time. And now with that, roaming towards starting the Herald, but Suning feel like they're hungry for it too.
My guess is Suning probably won't opt in because, again, you look at the minimap, Huanfeng is down in bot lane. They're opting into the typical gold trade, right? Where it's like, okay, enemy team, you rotated your bot lane, you take that Herald. Guess what? Our Jinx, our hyper carry is pushing in waves. We're denying the Ezreal. She's getting turret plating. She's like accelerating herself relative to the matchup. And I feel like Suning are fine with that, right? Because, again, later on, it's going to come down to, like, how well can Suning peel for Huanfeng? We do have the Flay, we do have Fox, you have the Paranoia coming out from SofM that could buy time. I feel like Angel's going to play a lot more of a, like, stand-in back, use gold card to make sure Huanfeng is safe role. Yeah. And if Suning can pull that off effectively, like, they have an avenue to win. The problem is, again, that IG have a lot of different damage threats. If they can get on objectives first, I feel like it's going to be very hard for Suning to come in. Sure, they do have the Destiny, but I feel like if they do just go in willy-nilly, that, again, we've seen the damage Rookie can put out. We know that Wink's on his way to that Divine Sunder. It's going to be a bit hard.
And I also want to highlight that when you're going up against a poke comp, right, or, you know, not necessarily a poke comp, but you have Zoe, you have Ezreal.
You have poke
when you
elements,
don't control
right?
vision. Yeah. Poke elements. When you don't control vision, people like Wink and Rookie can just blow Huanfeng up before those defensive methods are put into place, before that 5v5 enables Huanfeng and all the people around him to keep him clear.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, though, if Huanfeng was able to get blown up by, you know, Rookie or Wink or anyone, I feel like that would depend on a mistake for him. That would be him, like, you know, walking into Fog of War, face-checking a brush, something along those lines. So hopefully we don't see that because gold's still pretty even. One Drake in favor of Suning. We're not actually seeing all too much come up yet, but Dragon's going to spawn once again in 29 seconds. We do have ults up on both sides. Wink's the one who's down, and that's going to be up quite soon. Neither top laner has TP advantage. Bin is the one who has the push, so potentially can try to leverage that into hovering towards the bottom half of the map. But right now, we actually see Angel and SofM around the top side. So potential dive coming out.
Well, they got him into the wall. Here comes Destiny right with the Paranoia. They find the real Wukong. Cyclone comes up. SofM takes a lot of damage as Rookie's coming in. Nails him down, if only. But the flash. SofM survives the dive successful. But for that, you've pretty much given up the chance at Dragon. And maybe more for IG.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit surprised by this play, right? Because we actually hit on this earlier that we said, hey, we would like to see them look for those plays in top because they feel a lot more guaranteed than, you know, either onto Rookie in mid or around Wink and Lucas in the bottom side. But, you know, IG did have Rift Herald, so they were able to drop that one down. I expected them to transition that into a Drake, as you highlighted, or at least hover around bot, push Huanfeng and on back, give your bot lane prio, and then try to turn that into a 5-man play. But instead, they're actually going to do it. They're just going to do it very slowly.
Yeah, Rookie's going to stay in mid for now to hold on to some of this pressure. Mountain Dragon's still there, as you mentioned. Rookie now moving down. SofM without the ulti for quite a bit, so here it goes with 180 carrying the jungle and one mid laner. Lucas shattering too, and Wink just staying in the lane. So this is given up, Lyric. It's a 1-for-1. And while Suning are ahead in gold by 1,000, next Dragon's going to be Infernal. We know what Zoe and Ezreal can do with Infernal Dragon, so one on the board for IG does feel quite impactful.
Well, we've already seen the dynamic of how, at least in the mid game, this is going to play out, right? Is that IG are kind of Suning, are looking for these plays with numbers advantage, moving first, utilizing those global ultimates. IG, it's a lot more about grouping up, forcing Suning back. Another great thing for IG right now is they do have so much pressure in the mid lane. It's going to be very hard for Angel to do anything without either his teleport up or his Destiny. And even then, since you're getting pushed in so hard, it feels like that's going to have to be a reactive play. But, right, those are the two different dynamics that we're going to continue to see out of these comps until I think Huanfeng gets a little bit more escalated. But he does finally have that Kraken Slayer.
He does. He's there before Wink is. Remember the Ezreal sitting on the tier with the Phage looking for the Divine Sunderer. And Huanfeng is going to respond to this first Turret Blood IG just achieved in the mid lane. They shared that goal, but Huanfeng gets it solo. With a 20 CS lead, that's great. While IG want a little bit more, but they miss SofM. He walks away from the Krugs. And I think that's a very big win for Suning.
And right, this even goes all the way back to the Rift Herald play that we saw earlier, which, again, we expected Jinx and Thresh to come out ahead in this lane. We know that Jinx will be able to easily get prio against Ezreal with her rockets. You know that Thresh is a ranged champion as compared to Leona, so there are, like, certain trade patterns in there as well. And once they just opted into putting all the gold onto Huanfeng, once IG rotated Wink and Lucas up, I feel like Suning were very happy with that trade. And now it's just going to be sending Huanfeng to mid, and this is going to open up the map state that Suning want, right? This is going to open up that 1-3-1. This is going to open up pulling the members of IG apart. And overall, I feel like we're still going to be waiting a little bit, right? Suning potentially, I feel like we'll look for a pick if someone on the map overextends, but IG maybe just want to wait out that 3 minutes for the next dragon, keep getting more gold onto both your Ezreal and Kindred, and again, just be happy taking the 5v5.
I do like, however, that for Suning, they can really punish mistakes, right? If you do talk about people overextending. We have the double globals that we've talked about many times here, and tracking SOFM now for IG seems more important now than ever. The bottom lane, Angel sitting here for now by himself. SOFM just backed away to get the stride breaker. And I think while we do have that quick lull, it is important to talk about the first items coming through, because on neny as well, we have the Divine Sundra. We have the item that for melee users get that extra 15% heal now thanks to the buffs. Is a very good sustained item and really powerful on melee champions overall.
Yeah, he's definitely in a good spot right now. I feel like overall, again, expected items coming out across the board. One thing to highlight is that Suning did get a bunch of vision around topside. That would signal to me that they want to play more around, you know, getting that next Rift Herald. But instead, actually, they're just going to give over control to IG, start playing more around Angel, potentially get some vision now down for, you know, again, 2 minutes ahead of time when that next Drake will spawn, and look to start just stacking those up as a win condition.
Because it seems like now that's a priority in the bottom side. They're going to leave the Herald, SOFM nowhere nearby, and Shun just taking out the Herald for the time being. Rookie shadowing and looking for some of the deep vision. They'll be spotted on a ward, which means Bin has to play extra careful, especially now that Shun can threaten a quick turret push with the second Herald of the game.
And right now they're going to fight. Ooh, Nocturne.
SOFM going in. Solarflare locks him down. He's dead. Good death sentence, but SOFM just entered in the first game back. Fantastic. Really good stuff. IG with 4 people as teleporters committed mid. And now Dragon Vision gets a little bit more peculiar as they continue to chase.
Yeah, that was a little bit interesting coming out. They felt like they had the pick. They saw 2 members of IG mid. They did theoretically have 4 members that would be able to follow up, right? Because their bottom lane was there as well. Angel at Destiny goes in, immediately gets picked off. This is going to be a tier 2 for the side of IG. And we're going to see resets come out, but I really want to see them start transitioning vision down around Dragon, which is coming up in 40 seconds, because if Suning are able to get a decent position, we don't really have any flank wards come out. I feel like that just gives Suning a lot easier time of being able to play out their composition. As Huanfeng also gets a little bit chunked. Hysterics, you called it. He just walks forward, you know, walks towards a brush, walks potentially towards Fog of War, and Rookie's going to instantly take away half his health bar.
He's a great AD carry, but I know that Huanfeng can sometimes move a little bit too far forward in the wrong direction. I do know, however, that damage is huge considering that Rookie still doesn't have the first item. As SOFM walking into neny yet again. Good bit of damage, bonking him on top of the head with the stick. Dragon up in 5 seconds. We've talked about it quite a bit here in the last couple of minutes. Now it's time to see what happens. Never mind. Let's look at the replay where maybe he thought Angel was going to join him. Oh, no, he did. He destinied on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, not the play. Kind of feels bad man moment for SOFM there.
Oh, no.
On the map, though, again, I'm a bit surprised we went into the replay as Dragon was coming up. Suning were actually the ones who had position for it before we went to the replay because Rookie was channeling his recall. Wink was still making his way down from top. But overall, Suning acknowledging, hey, we can't take these 5v5s just yet. I assume SOFM's ultimate would still have been down in that situation. And now, once again, we're going to come out with resets for the side of IG. I feel like you get back on the map, start putting down vision towards topside because Baron is going to spawn in a few minutes. And you're just going to, once again, rinse, repeat, recycle your camps, keep moving forward. And for the side of Suning, they're once again the ones who are forced to look for a play.
And have to watch out on the other end as well while they're trying to be ambitious towards this river. IG not giving them any opportunity for now as Shun continues to farm like a bit of a monster. He's got the Kraken Slayer. He's getting on towards that Collector's second item. I think also important to note that Rookie now has the Horizon focus, so it does feel like, you know, we're getting some very strong items that are going to cement IG hitting away with this poke even more so. And people like Huanfeng, you can see, sitting back in the lane, really starting to worry about the damage from this Zoe.
I'm just, you know, pretty surprised that Rookie opted for Horizon Focus over actually buying his Mythic item. We don't see a Ludens. We don't see an Everfrost coming out on his side going straight for that one. Not your typical build in solo queue. It does give you more AP than either of the items would give, but Rookie potentially finding a bubble. But still, I feel like the passives coming out from legendary items would be a lot more worth than, you know, going straight into Everfrost. But we have seen Rookie mainly playing a ranged game, right? He's been playing far back, looking for Sleepy Trouble Bubbles, trying to throw Paddle Stars from Fog of War, from over terrain, so gonna index more into that playstyle.
That's TP, that's a Destiny, that's a Paranoia. Enemy Predator Missile, where is it this time? On top of one member, and that's Wink, who's caught out with the rest of his team. Sooning use everything, but they get the pick they need. And now looking for a little bit more. Rookie over the wall, he's gonna hit Bin. Just waiting for his Mega Gnar to time on out. Comes on in with a portal jump, but that's a good play from Sooning.
And you know the thing to highlight for me from that is, again, how Sooning have really been on top of their vision control this game as compared to IG, because they spotted Wink on a ward. They knew he was there. They knew where the other members of IG were, and they were able to utilize their pick comp effectively. So great things from Sooning. You even look at the map, it's littered with Sooning wards. Very few IG wards coming out this whole game. And that's going to continuously be the win condition for Sooning until we do start getting into more of these straight 5v5 team fights, which, again, I don't really want to see Sooning be the aggressive of them. I think Sooning would be much better positioned to try to, you know, get on objective first or bait IG into coming into them, where then Huanfeng can be the player to kite back. You do have a lot of these kiting and zoning tools coming out from the side of Sooning, and that's probably a more favorable flavor of fight for their composition.
Yeah, like, you know, pick composition, I love that you talk about the pick elements again. Everfrost being there for the Twist of Fate, such a great item. The Rapid Fire Cannon is coming second too, which is just going to enhance the range of that gold card, as we all know. So we'll watch Sooning and see what they can do when those ultimates are back up and available. Paranoia already there. Look at the Destiny. It's close for Angel. And right now for IG on the other end, they're just trying to farm up. We're looking towards that next dragon. Again, Lyric, 1 minute 30. It's been a pretty quiet start to the LPL. 4 kills in 20 minutes. Not what we expect out of IG, but it has been pretty tempered play. And I guess an already better start than what we know in the past.
I mean, the kills coming out isn't what we expected. The champions coming out, I feel like some of the setups for Drakes have been a little bit confusing, and like the decisions being made. A lot of unexpected things, but again, it's the first series of the split, right? These guys sure have been scrimming, but coming on stage, playing on stage, very different. I feel like it's going to take a few weeks before teams, players, and all of us really learn what is like definitely strong, especially in this region where we've always had a different idea of what picks are good and bad than, say, again, the LEC, the LCS, LCK, etc. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun adventure.
We're a bit of a bubble, aren't we? Whenever we come to LPL, we always go, well, that's not being done here, but this is being seen high level of play. Things like Ezreal, Zoe still transferring over, but we look at LPL as that bubble continuing. Again, only one game in. I'm not going to give you that caster BS, but at the very least, let's see how it develops. As Angel now playing the side lane really well, on-shadowing him, which I love here from the support, and he's doing all this damage while Dragon's spawning, and he has TP, he has Destiny when he wants to join.
And this is just a very reminiscent play of RNG at MSI, being conscious of, hey, we don't really want to fight IG's composition on this timer. We're going to look to trade and get gold elsewhere on the map. They still have phenomenal vision over the Baron area, so they don't really have to worry anything in terms of that. And now for IG, you have some options, right? For them, Paranoia comes out, though.
Wink again by himself over the wall. He has to flash, but he's on his lonesome as Super Mega Death Rocket comes in flying, and Wink just trying to buy time while the rest of Invictus Gaming have nothing here to get. Over to Bin, he'll give the kill. Second time around, they've really abused this AD carry.
And it's one of those things, right, where it's like, okay, they're trying to funnel tons of gold and CS into him. They're leaving him in the side lane solo. Zoe isn't really a champion who can safely do that. With Ezreal, you do have your E to get away. But just consistently last time, walking over a ward wasn't really overextended. This time was a bit overextended for where his team was, and they didn't see members of Sooning on the map other than seeing Angel towards the top side. So a bit unfortunate coming out from Wink, and this is just opening up more of a gold lead coming out for the side of Sooning. I want to see if they can force anything off this, though Wink is up in 3 seconds because, right, IG are just fine playing on this 4-minute timer. They're like, hey, we're chilling until next dragon. You're going to have to fight us then.
He has rapid fire. There's the Everfrost. Cleanses away. You talk about when to fight them, though, Lyric, and each and every time I want to say the response to Suning getting a pick or being in the right place at the right time is getting another one of these side lane turrets. Bin was very close in that inner turret in the bottom side, and neny, every time he's sitting around mid or he's sitting in the other lane, has to go back and match as Destiny's being used. Cyclone first goes there as Angel takes 2 turret shots. And now that that's down, I feel like Suning have committed 2 members down to the wrong side of the map.
I mean, the thing is, they do have teleports up, but you have no ultimate on your Gnar. You have no ultimate on Angel either. IG feel completely fine going for this. Paranoia is with SofM. He can potentially look for a steal.
As there's a Shurelius, but Baron's just gone. Baron's gone. Destiny used teleport late. Angel behind enemy lines. But the rest of IG can erupt to this. As Lucas stops his back, but Angel should just be able to walk this one out. And hey, free Baron. Thank you so much.
Yeah, now, again, if IG weren't already just straight chilling going into the next Dragon, they're going to have Baron, they're going to be able to push out waves, they're going to be able, the ones dictating vision, they're going to be able to get more gold and force Suning into disadvantageous, there we go, Hysterics, that's the word, disadvantageous positions. And yeah, I feel like for me, going into the next Drake, it's pretty much SofM steal or bust. I still don't feel very confident with Suning going into team fights.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a funny game to open up, right? Not what I expect out of these two teams, but nevertheless, shenanigans have been had, and more likely to talk about the 5v5 of IG is that we are getting towards that item point where, if we do see it, we're expecting strong members like Shun. 2 items there with the Collector with a pickaxe, rolling into the third, which could be that Hysterics Gauge, but we now have the Luden's Tempest in the hands of Rookie, who already with the Horizon focus is going to nuke people. It's like a 25 kill streak, man. Rookie will end the game if he gets on top of Huanfeng. So right now, he's also chilling in the side lane, looking to add pressure, IG hovering over him, while neny's the weak side on the top side, where Suning might try and react.
Yeah, looks like they're going to do that, right? They're sending 3 members. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Paranoia come out from SofM and Bin's already pushing up as well. The question is, though, right? That's why you don't see these strategies against Baron. IG can probably get more on the opposite side of the map.
neny there for the Cyclone. He'll die down. It's a shutdown in the end as well, going over to SofM, but they're at the inhibitor turret. But remember, you're split pushing against a Baron, and IG are going to back instead. Not one person is staying here. They're going to lose the inhibitor turret. Destiny away, and the Baron team lost while Angel just jukes them to get the mid lane turret as well.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. We do know that obviously Suning were further forward. They were already on turret to where IG were still waiting for the wave to hit. Another massive thing, right, is that Suning have Jinx against Ezreal. I do feel like that's a bit offset by the fact that IG also do have Kindred in the jungle, though, so probably similar turret-taking speeds when you factor in that. But with Angel also pressuring mid, IG feeling forced to go back. And again, this is Suning playing the map. This is Suning doing it, as we talked about earlier, trying to pull members of IG apart. And they're going to do it once again. They're waiting for IG to show on mid wave. They're waiting to see them show in river. And then they go push in these waves, and they're trying to pull more members back.
It really feels like Suning have a really good grasp of side lanes this game, right? They've had such good control of top, of bot. And as you said, pulling IG across the map when they're spotted on vision, when they have some of those control wards that they've really been prioritizing, excuse me. And Suning have just been playing the macro game better.
And it's one of those things, right? Because when you look at IG's comp, again, I think in a standard formation of a front to back, it feels really good. If you do get one of these 3v3s, as Paranoia comes out,
it's darkness because this is the Infernal Soul. We didn't look at it because IG were just hovering around. SofM in the pit. There's the Lambs Respite. Will keep the Dragon alive as well. But who gets the Smite fight? It's Jinx who picks it up in the end. Suning stay alive, but is the fight doomed? The fight forward, Shield of Daybreak. It's Cyclone City for the Monka. And now IG with the one fight. Teleport back to stop Angel. But they lose the Dragon in response.
And that's the thing, right? You got the kill, so you're getting an injection of gold, but you lost the objective, and there's nothing on the map to take right now, right? There's no inner turrets you can realistically take. The only one that's still up on the side of Suning is that one in top lane. Baron isn't up. You can get some vision, but you're not really the team that's going to potentially be looking to like push forward and pick people off. So overall, I think it was a good win by Suning, and I like that you were highlighting how they were playing again, because when you're turning this into a 2v2 top in a 3v3 around Dragon, as we see now, Suning don't feel as threatened by that because, again, IG really get a lot of value out of the full standard 5v5 team fight coming in. When there's no formation, it's very brawly. That's where Suning can thrive a little bit more. We do see Huanfeng pick up the Dragon. I don't think the Super Mega Death Rocket's what got it. It looked like maybe he got it with either, you know, a rocket, like one of his autos, or a W, but point is, Suning got it.
He got it. That's all that matters, right? Now, you put a timer on for Suning to continue playing through sides, to continue controlling the map like they've been doing. Teleport up into the top lane, not going to catch SofM from Rookie. But further to my point, Lyric, 3 minutes 30 is a long time for Suning to continue abusing like this. Angel and Bin together. These guys, good friends this game, while the rest of IG are nowhere to be found.
And I remember me and Kedril talking about this at MSI, that, you know, one of the reasons you don't see comps played like this anymore is because unless you're really able to pick up a few early dragons and make sure the game won't be able to be ended very soon, as neny.
That Destiny's mid instead. Everfrost connects there. Not sure, it's not onto the AD carry, actually onto the backline here from Sean. Has been rolling in, only managed to get to Wink in a bad position as well. Leona already goes down, but Rookie comes in! And that's a nuke if I've ever seen one. However, Wink dropping down is bad news with a favorable trade over to Suning.
And that was stock and standard, right? The second that Suning see Rookie bot looking for that play, Suning decisively pull the trigger on mid lane. That's something very different from Suning. Again, using the word like decisive when it comes to looking for these sort of plays. Yeah. Still no real objective up, but I think Suning are fine with that.
Oh no, Shun's just face checked, and now neny has to clean up the scraps. Angel going golden, second Cyclone will get the knock up and the bonk on the head yet again, but Gnar comes back up and available, and neny following in the footsteps of the Shy, gonna drop 2 and 3 here, while Rookie the only one left alive. Lucas now respawns, but Baron is up, Lyric, and Dragon is not a response as it's 2 minutes to go.
I mean, this is a free objective for the side of Suning, right? That one was very strange sequence of events coming out from IG because, ooh, nice damage coming out from Rookie, but
he's big.
IG knew what Suning were doing, right? Because they saw them pushing bot, they saw them pushing mid. They know that they were invading their bottom side jungle, looking to steal camps, looking to get vision. Looks like they wanted to be cheeky and find a pick, as Rookie might get picked.
True Shot Barrage, though, does a bit of damage, spots out the Baron at 6k. Rookie still there, Wink poking down as well in the pit. The paranoia to secure the big purple worm. Lucas still chasing, but everyone's out. Suning keep the objective free. They get it onto 4 of their members, and they have a firm gold lead in this game 1.
Yep, and that is one of my favorite uses of paranoia, is, again, just using it to make sure that your team is able to secure the Baron. The enemy team can't really walk forward. No real safety in that play. And now Dragon's going to come up in a minute. Suning this time around are going to be the team that are going to be able to get pushes in those lanes. They already have both top and bot set up to push into IG. You would expect members to want to answer those, as we see Shun potentially heading down. Looks like he's just doing Krugs right now. And neny heading up towards the top side. So again, for IG, get your waves under control. Start once again trying to group up towards that Dragon. But you're going to be under threat of losing inhibitors.
And maybe even neny in the process. Look at this, Suning collapse yet again. This Wukong level 17 will get double Cyclone, but it feels like he should be going down here. Hysterics gauge doesn't matter as he's knocked into the wall. Golden one last time, but Angel at range can get the gold card, and they lock him down to his death. Suning again, envelop IG, and neny gets bullied for it.
And IG are just in a really awkward position, right? Because you kind of have to answer these side waves because Suning are going to be able to take your inhibitors, but you can't really make your way towards Dragon because you'll give those up, but at the same time, if you stay in side lanes, you're not only giving up Dragon, but gonna give Suning opportunities to find those sort of picks. So Suning doing a good job of using their comp to kind of choke IG out while they have this Baron.
It's like a bad relationship. You're stuck in it, but you don't know how to get out of it, Lyric, because Angel and Bin going to get forced on. The teleport there, Wink knows, trying to kill him before he goes down. He doesn't get the last Mystic shot. Not enough time as Bin now in the chasm as well. But Suning, look at the mid lane. Look at the mid lane with the Baron buff. They're pushing into the inhibitor. And IG, maybe they're the monkeys this time around. In game 1, Rookie's against the Nexus turrets, going golden to buy time, but the first Nexus turret will drop on down. Rookie's dead immediately. neny's here, and you're right. Game 1 is done just like that, as Suning with the big 5 head to finish it off.
and I can't believe it. Again, we saw an early game that sure was slow on both sides, but it felt like every time we either had a little brawl, a skirmish, a fight over an objective, IG were the team who would come out slightly ahead. But you hit the nail on the head, Hysterics, that once it came to these mid-game map movements, we saw really nice transition by Suning to realize, hey, we just start looking for these two-man plays on side lanes. It's going to be all about the Twisted Fate and the Gnar taking down the Wukong. Then you're putting Rookie in a really awkward position where it's like, hey, if I don't go and react, we're going to lose Inhibitor turret, we're going to lose Inhibitor. And the second that happens, Suning once again have another option of like, hey, we have global ultimates. Rookie's here, we just transition to making a play on the opposite side. And they really had this nice ebb and flow of like, side lane pressure, find pick around mid or in a jungle. Side lane pressure, find pick around mid or in a jungle. So again, I feel like this is a lot more we've seen from Suning in this game than we saw in Spring Split.
Because I think it's really nice to highlight Suning here, because overall that package deal that was Angel, creating so much disruption in the side lane, I think playing the game state so much better, Lyric. We never saw that 5-on-5 that we wanted to look for from IG. They had the Dragon Soul. It was stolen away, which does feel like a very crucial moment. Because with Infernal Soul, we give control back to Invictus Gaming. They are able to force. So it does feel like Huanfeng saved the game, but also Angel playing his Twisted Fate again. And then we also have SofM linking up with him eventually after we saw that earlier mishap towards the side of mid lane.
I mean, to be fair to SofM, right, he did get a bit of a CS lead in the jungle early on, so was at least doing a nice job of, getting ahead of Shun. So overall, I like that we saw a different dimension of Suning. And I remember this was a question a lot of people were asking after MSI. It's like, hey, how is the strengths of RNG and the way RNG plays the game, now that they've won MSI, going to shape the dynamic of teams coming into LPL? And we're already seeing from this game, well, apparently it means a lot. Apparently a lot of teams are going to look at RNG and kind of take away their strengths and how they win their games.
True. One of the strengths of playing sides as well, right? I think something we learned very, very handily from RNG, at MSI, too much tea. This is a game that I think, to start off the split, is a great reflection, right? I know very shortly we'll be looking at things like Gold Graph or whatever, but there were some really good moments from IG. There was some great picks and pressure laid by Shun, by Rookie. I think Lucas had a decent game as well. But neny was bullied in the side lane. And there's not much more that we could say, that every time the globals came through, it was up to him, who was absorbing all this pressure and had to survive through so much